Hi, this is Ted. Today I'm going to be talking to you about an article I read. By the way, this is Minneapolis. It's a wonderful day. I just love spring. It's coming. It's 39 degrees. Great day for a run. And I decided to, in the middle of it, talk to you about an article that I read this past weekend. Marvelous article. The article, it's actually a blog, and it's written by a sociologist from Africa. And he worked in the University of Kansas as a teacher for a while. He does other things as well. The article is February 3rd, 2022, so it's very recent. And it is called Behind Africans' Thirst for Prophecy. Confusion about the present and anxiety about the future. There's a couple things that he said that were kind of rehashing same old territory I've been down, but some stuff he brought up which was marvelous and has got me going in a whole new direction maybe in the future. Nevertheless, you know, I've seen some of this stuff, so I know what he's talking about. He just puts it together in a very good way. And what I decided I'm going to do is read to you parts of this article and make comments as I go along. Okay, he says, this is Obadiah. Late last year, the Ghana Police Service issued a statement in which it warned those it referred to as doomsday prophets to desist from prophesying or face prosecution and a term of imprisonment for up to 5 years. Now this has been a little confusing for some, because what does it mean? What would get you in jail, what wouldn't? But you're gonna find out why Ghana is upset with these doomsday prophets and why this could become a big problem in other countries as well, including the United States. By the way, real briefly, Ghana, Liberia, other nations in Africa, they get their cues from, guess who? From the faith movements, from the charismatic movements, from the word of faith, from the prosperity teachings, from the mega churches, from all these things in the United States. They get their teachings, they get their substance from there, and they pass it on to their own people in their own way. And it's unfortunate. Now, I am going to say, from my own understanding, Obadiah, he might correct me on this, and I would trust his judgment better because he is far deeper into the African community. But I would sense and I would believe that it's not an issue when you have a preacher saying, give me all your money and God will bless you, in the prosperity movement. It's not an issue when those same preachers say, if you believe, you will be healed, and watch millions go away not healed, believing and blaming themselves for not getting healed. That, I don't believe, has ever been an issue with Ghana or with other countries in Africa. But what is the issue? The prophets. Why? Because they carry with them a negativity that disarms and pulls down the people in high places and the education systems and all this. We're seeing it, the attempt anyway, here in the United States, and I believe it's going to be going on perhaps more and more. Don't know. I'm not one who can foretell the future because God just hasn't given that to me yet. All right. Nevertheless, I do want to say that this is something that could happen in the future. And when I say could, that doesn't mean it's going to. Things might turn around overnight. That is how the future is. Things happen where our best plans fall apart, and that will always be. So, Obadiah, Ghana police basically have given this mandate to the people to stop the negative prophesying. He also says, in Nigeria, where Pentecostal pastors similarly enjoy tremendous social prestige, the end of the year and the beginning of a new one, understandably, is a time of anxiety for families. This tends to be dominated by pastoral proclamations, these And we see that in the United States with all the different prophets lining up to tell you what's going to be happening this coming year. And by the way, the overwhelming, that I understand as I see it, the overwhelming response and prediction that they're giving is this is going to be a year of restoration, good stuff happening. Such prophecies, now he's going to be describing these prophecies, they cover the gamut from extreme weather events, untold airplane crashes that are going to be happening, winners of forthcoming elections, and major sporting tournaments. Tragedies, and by the way, they also not only get into sports, but also Hollywood and elections here in the United States. These are typical for the prophecies they like to give. With few exceptions, they tend to be as broad and as ambiguous as possible. This is smart from a prophetic point of view, because you get specific, things happen where it doesn't go well. Because, look at our own prophets here in the United States. President Trump is going to win the 2020 election. He didn't. Now what? We have to find something that is called the spin. What is the spin? The spin is why it really happened, why you're not seeing it. The elections were stolen. Oh, he was exalted in the heavenly places to be the president, so I will follow him and listen to him, but I won't listen to the president because he is illegitimate. These are spins that typically take place when failed prophecy takes place. It is something that happens with a lot of, the bigger the failed prophecy, the bigger they are, the more need there is to create a spin. In Africa, T.B. Joshua said that God has spoken to me. He's in Africa. Coronavirus will end by March 27th, 2020. Did it end? No. Now he has to find a spin. And his spin was that prophecy was meant for Wuhan, China. It'll be done there. I don't know the follow-up of that, if anything else, what else he had to do, what kind of spin he had to make for when Wuhan continued to have problems. Hillary Clinton, he also said, would beat Donald Trump in 2016. Hillary Clinton got the popular vote. That's the spin. All right, do you see what happens when you get too exact with prophecies? And this is something Ebenezer Obadiah, he gets and he sees it, and he's likewise saying that they are putting this spin on stuff as well, because you can't be too exact. Keep it general. There is going to be tragedy coming this month. I make that prediction. This is Ted Olson. I'm making that prediction. Now, all I have to do is add something which is not true. God told me that. And whenever any tragedy comes up, I can claim I was the one who predicted it. I am a prophet. And everybody goes, ooh, because they want prophecy. They want people who will tell them what's coming, because they're anxious about the present and they want peace about the future. All right, moving on. Obadiah says that men of God, people who turn to the men of God, now he's talking about the people, not the prophets, they have stepped into a vacuum created by the degradation of higher education and the retreat of the intelligentsia from public life. In other words, they're no longer looking to the powerful, the leaders that they've had in the past. They're no longer looking to the educated. They're looking and turning their gaze towards the prophets. And the prophets are telling them what to focus on, what to believe, and where to go. To be a respected man of God in many parts of Africa today is to exist almost beyond law and beyond sanction. Erstwhile university academics who morphed into men of God, in other words, the men of God, quote unquote, took over that territory. The prophets did. And they enjoy social respect. Now, I know in the States they will tell you how much they're persecuted, but in reality, they have a huge following. And that following is giving them so much absolute respect, they can do and say no wrong. Their spins on their exact prophecies that went wrong are perfect. They can do no wrong. They hear from God. They are in heaven's courts listening to God. You and I, we're nobodies. We don't get it. So they listen. And besides, the prophets tell you, follow the prophets of God and you will be established. Follow them, you will prosper. Because God has told us that He will let us know before anything happens. There's a lot of stuff that seems to slide through that God doesn't really see in advance in their eyes, like COVID-19. They'll find somebody who prophesied somewhere down the road, there's going to be a disaster in 2019. That's it. That's the one who said it. All right? You get where I'm coming from. Do you understand how the prophets pull off the job that they're pulling off? All right, so finally, and this is what really got to me. Well, I'm going to actually go through several things here that he says. In different degrees, the state's traditional role has been assumed by sundry non-state and religious entities. In other words, the state is no longer being listened to. It's the prophets. And by the way, here in the States, the prophets tell you, don't listen to anybody outside of us. Why? Because we have truth. They push lies. One way in which the pastorate lays claim to legitimacy is through the prophetic proclamations. The scarier those proclamations, the greater the man of God's control of the public's imagination. Hence, Ghana's doomsday prophecies. Now this I found interesting because in Africa, it's the negative ones that really take off the most. We have them, but they're always directed towards the left. They're always directed towards people who don't agree with the prophets. Never towards their own followers. Well, I shouldn't say never. Almost never towards their own followers. When the only certainty that people have is that things will get worse, prophecy can offer assurance that their situation is not beyond redemption. Distrust of the state and other secular authorities is so deep, people would rather take their chance with the prophets. And that's how he pretty much concludes. What I see in this, I've been going over Micah quite a bit lately, and chapter 3, verse 5, I'll just read it to you. Micah says, the false prophets are leading God's people astray. They promise peace for those who give them food, but they declare war on those that refuse to feed them. Is this what we're seeing? We promise peace and good and comfort for those who follow the prophets, but those outside of their territory are demonized, are set up as evil, are set up as people we need to take away from their territory and make it ours. Which, by the way, is a big teaching going on right now in the prophetic movement. And this is Ted. You all have a good day.